Good morning, students. So, in the last class, I had explained regarding the NSAID's classification and what is analgesia. So, here already I have sent the pharmacokinetic part. So, the first part is missing. So, again, I'm going to explain regarding that. Okay. So, the prototype drug under this NSAID is aspirin. Okay, so aspirin normally inhibits the prostaglandin synthesis, and already the formation of this prostaglandins I have explained as prostaglandins. Just to brief out, phospholipids, which is derived from the cell membrane in the presence of the phospholipase A2, produces arachidonic acid. This arachidonic acid via the cyclooxygenase pathway produces prostaglandins and thromboxane A2. Okay, so here the cyclooxygenase is of two types, COX-1 as well as COX-2. So when you give aspirin, aspirin normally inhibits the cyclooxygenase enzyme, thus inhibits the formation of the prostaglandins as well as thromboxane A2. Just to tell in one word, the mechanism remains same for all the classes of drugs, NSAIDs. So when you give this drug, it inhibits the cyclooxygenase enzyme, thus inhibits the formation of prostaglandins and thromboxane A2. Okay, so this is the mechanism of action. Next is pharmacological action of the drug. Okay, so there are various actions. So normally it belongs to the class of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It has got analgesic, anti-inflammatory and antipyretic effect. Analgesic effect. Normally the drug is known to decrease the pain, which is normally associated with the inflammatory reaction. Okay, and here is pain is normally relieved by increasing in the pain threshold, that is by blocking the prostaglandin synthesis. Okay, the second action as antipyretic. So normally pyrexia, which indicates increase in the body temperature, and you know that the body temperature is normally regulated by hypothalamus, where the temperature regulating center is present. So when you give aspirin, aspirin acts on hypothalamus, thus it decreases the body temperature. Okay, so normally what happens is vasodilation occurs, which causes sweating, thus that is responsible for decreasing the body temperature. The third action is as anti-inflammatory. So normally whenever you give the drug at the high dose, okay, that is around 3 to 6 grams per day. Some books they specify around 4 to 6 grams per day. Okay, so at that dose normally it acts as anti-inflammatory. Okay, so normally inflammation is normally associated with pain, tenderness, swelling, vasodilation and infiltration. All this is reduced by this drug aspirin. Okay, so thus it acts as analgesic, antipyretic and anti-inflammatory. The next action is on metabolic effects. Okay, so normally whenever you give aspirin, aspirin normally increases the cellular metabolism, and this metabolism is most commonly seen in skeletal muscles, and this increased cellular metabolism is normally mediated by oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so what happens is there is increased heat production. That means cellular metabolism is nothing but increase in the basal metabolic rate. So when the metabolic rate is increased, normally what happens is there is increase in the heat production in the body. Okay, so since there is increase in the cellular metabolism, there is increased utilization of glucose. So what happens is there will be decrease in blood sugar level. Okay, but on the other hand, high dose of aspirin is known to cause hyperglycemia, and this hyperglycemia is mainly due to sympathetic stimulation. Okay, low dose causes hypoglycemia, high dose it causes hyperglycemia. Okay, on the other hand, high dose of the drug causes negative nitrogen balance. Okay, and also majority of the proteins it is converted into carbohydrate. Okay, so this is metabolic effect. The next action is on respiration. Okay, so normally when you give aspirin at the inflammatory dose, it causes stimulation of respiration. So here what happens is there is increased carbon dioxide retention. On the other hand, it produces central action. Okay, but when you give in the toxic dose, it normally causes hyperventilation, and still higher dose it causes respiratory depression as well as the death of the patient. Okay, so this is dose dependent. That means as the dose of the drug is increased, the effect on respiration also changes. Okay, so in the next video I'll be continuing remaining actions of aspirin.